Those of us don't know, don't know like you cowards. Dear W.W.F. This world is wrong to be.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hello, David.
Oh, hello. And Craig.
You have legs like my mother-in-law.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, 1990 Survivor Series. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P. 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcast. And don't forget, we're now part of the Wrestle Hub family, all about wrestling podcast. Catch them at the Wrestle Hub on YouTube and Instagram. Guys, are you the ultimate survivor?
I'd like to think so, Dave.
Yeah.
Yes.
The ultimate survivor.
I chose this specifically. Why,
so
do you
fun.
ask? It is
This is a number of
30 years old, this pay-per-view. 30 years.
I think you think of timing of this. 30 years for this pay-per-view is awesome. That's a big plus. But I know we just recently finished recording the Road Warrior / Legion of Doom episode, and they happen to be on the Survivor Series too, which is pretty cool. And there was one other reason I thought that was pretty poignant to Survivor Series and why this was. We're kind of rolling into November, aren't we? We're getting close to it. It's about that time.
We're in it technically when this airs, but and then on the 22nd of November, it's going to be 30. Like, I was doing the math in my head in preparation for this. Dave and I were freshly in 8th grade back here, and
gosh.
Craig was a freshman in high school.
Good gravy.
Yeah,
Great time.
This hit me in
No,
the
it
feels
wasn't.
on many different ways, both positively and negatively. When I realized how old I am, that was terrible.
That's
and then,
not
but then also watching this, I remember watching this. This was the final Survivor Series that was on Thanksgiving night. I'm pretty sure that is a true statement, what I just said. I specifically remember watching this with no friends in my house, and I would always have friends over for pay-per-views, but because everybody was having Thanksgiving dinner with their family, I'm almost positive that 1991 was the first one that was the day before Thanksgiving, but this was the very last Survivor Series, which up until this point, and including this pay-per-view, was on actual Thanksgiving night. Kind of odd. It did well for 4 years, I guess, and then they did decide to switch it, but it's kind of odd that they had it on Thanksgiving. It was a Thanksgiving night tradition for 4 years.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm always reminded of all the VHS Coliseum videotapes of all the Survivor Series, which had the multiple teams on it, the big yellow box. That's what I think of.
I think that's where I saw it with Jess. Jess probably broke out the box, and that's when I saw it for the first time, because I don't think I saw it live.
Yeah. It's always really interesting on paper. And when you read the back and you read the teams and you're like, oh, wow, there's something here. They can sometimes, and they do a lot, disappoint. And that's just because it's too many guys in the ring. There's too much stuff to get in. It can be rushed.
Well, and they, on the first 2 years, they used to have a tag team.
That's right.
Yeah, five teams versus
It was
side teams. Like
10 on 10, right?
Yeah, like 20 mother
Couldn't see
effers,
it.
like all on the
Couldn't
outside
see
of
a
the
thing.
apron. You couldn't even see the action inside of the ring unless the camera elevated, unless they used the crane camera. They did that for the first 2 years, and then they stopped that in '89, and then they did not do it here either. They would put the tag teams in with other teams of 4. So they did try to streamline it, because originally the first 2 Survivor Series were teams of 5. Here it's just teams of 4. Yeah, it's too many. So I think
this
even
might have been the best one.
Yeah, I would like to have seen them try the tag team one with only 4 teams. That's still a lot of people, but it's a little bit better. But no, that's fine. But this one was significant for many reasons. It was the 30th anniversary. This Survivor Series I mean, I could be totally wrong because there's been a lot of Survivor Series since here, but this is like one of the most talked about because there were three major things that happened here. One, the first thing is just pertaining to this event alone. The second one is absolutely legendary. And the third one is one of the worst moments in wrestling history that helped birth WrestleCrap. So this Survivor Series is very significant. And as we go, when we start reviewing it, I will reveal the three major historic moments that this event is famous for, and I think why people still talk about it today. The first one I'll just get out of the bag right now. This is the only Survivor Series where they had a grand finale match of survival, meaning all the survivors from each teams that would compete during the night would face again. The problem is, and I never thought of this when I was, in 8th grade, because you just believed everything they put out there, is they never said how the teams would be arranged. Obviously, it was good guys on the same team and bad guys on the same team, and that would be the grand finale. But they didn't say that, at the beginning. They never referred to wrestlers as heels or faces or good guys or bad guys. They just referred to them as wrestlers, and you knew who the heels were and you knew who the faces were. So that's how they arranged it, and they never did it after this. And I kind of see why they didn't, but this is the first thing right out of the gate. One of three, check in the box, this is the only Survivor Series with the grand finale match of survival in it. Atmosphere really quick on professional wrestling in 1990. NWA/WCW was a month away from their Starrcade pay-per-view. The current champions in WCW at this time were Sting, was the NWA heavyweight champion. Stan the Lariat Hansen was the United States champion, and a little team called Doom was the tag team champions. A month later, however, Stan Hansen would lose his U.S. title to Lex Luger, and Sting would defeat the Black Scorpion, who would unmask himself to be Ric Flair with short hair.
Jess, wrestling historian, why? When you just said Starrcade was a month later, what year did they get off of Thanksgiving in Survivor Series run them out?
I would say way before this, not way before it, but I want to say, I could be wrong. It was 86 or 87 was the last Starrcade.
That's a long time. Okay.
I think when Survivor Series became a pay-per-view because Vince was trying to, boop, boop, and mess with people. I think that's when they switched it. You caught me on that one. I don't know the exact year, but it was around that time.
Which was sad. I kind of like Starrcade. Vince takes everything, makes it better, and then destroys everything around him. But Starrcade was the Thanksgiving tradition in wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is true. It was the original. You are correct. And in the WWF, we have the World Heavyweight Champion is the Ultimate Warrior. Intercontinental Champion here is Kerry Von Erich, who is about a month away from losing it again back to Mr. Perfect. And the Tag Team Champions here were the Hart Foundation, who would hold on to the title for another...
he had lost it in a TV taping before this event.
Say it again. Sorry.
Texas Tornado actually lost his title before this event in a TV taping, but he wore the belt at Survivor Series. So someone said because he looked bummed during this event.
It kind of makes sense, actually. I'm glad I didn't know that, actually. I didn't read that far into research, but it makes sense because Perfect defeated him on an episode of Superstars, which typically is taped like a month in advance. So this would be Perfect. And Kerry Von Erich defeated Mr. Perfect at the pay-per-view before this, SummerSlam 1990 in August. So
there's a handful of people who saw that house show and what the fuck?
Yeah, right. Because back here, they had so much, they didn't have Raw or anything like that. So it was all syndicated television. So we were actually at a house show in 1992 where they aired the British Bulldog versus Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship on Saturday night's main event that night. But we went to a house show at the LA Sports Arena, and Shawn Michaels walks out with the IC belt. Someone behind us had a fucking portable television. I am not making this up. And he was watching Saturday night's main event on it, and we saw Bulldog lose to Michaels on the TV from this stranger behind us who let us kind of peek in on it. And we looked live in the ring, and Michaels was defending against, I don't remember who, it wasn't Bulldog. And he had the Intercontinental Championship. And most of the crowd's like, what? That's tonight. But not realizing that they purposely ran a house show on the same night that Saturday Night Main Event was airing. Thinking the 8,000 fans that are here are not going to fucking care. And there was no internet, and there was no, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just,
what a nerd.
That's how it was.
To bring that portable TV with a long-ass antenna back in the day.
It was like a little square TV, probably like
a little tiny black and white screen.
That. Yeah.
I know. I can
probably
see it in
sold
my, in my
I
head.
sold him at the Shack for $300.
So, and that's the atmosphere of professional wrestling here. Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan earlier in the year for the heavyweight championship at WrestleMania 6 and was champion all throughout the year. He was about 2 months away from losing it to Sergeant Slaughter at Royal Rumble 1991 because Hulk's got to get his belt back.
It was
and
Warriors
that's pretty much
Federation.
it.
It was his time. It was
Yeah.
Warriors time.
Yeah.
Can I give the backdrop of where we're at and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Tell us where we're at because this is super interesting.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to lay the.
No. I mean, I'm serious about where the city that it's in.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this is in the Hartford, Connecticut Civic
Of course it
Center.
is, because Connecticut's Vince's backyard. So he's
Yeah.
like, Thanksgiving, Connecticut. It's like, all the other wrestlers are
Wanna
like,
go home
fuck
and eat
you,
after.
I don't live in Connecticut. Vince is like, well, I live in Connecticut. It's fine for me.
Yeah.
I'll have
Vince still
Thanksgiving
has-
dinner with the
But
family
even
before.
then, they book 16,000 people, and obviously they sell it out in good old Hartford. The coolest backdrop of this, I was telling Jess about this before we start. We talk about it all the time. We think it's just lovely when Vince McMahon announces the entire card before it starts.
I love his
Yeah.
beginnings. He's to the Royal Rumble.
To
He would do the Royal Rumble
Survivor
that way, too.
Series, you know. And
He was good at everything he did. Right? He announced, he
Yeah.
ring announced, he did all this, but he always had so much passion. Like you can't help but smile 30 years ago when Vince McMahon's doing the pre-tape and doing the intro with like just his huge
it's
Mr.
just
McMahonism
fun.
before he was decades
my
before his
notes say
Mr.
The
McMahon.
best, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The best. It's the best time. Gorilla Monsoon and Roddy Piper are your commentators, which I honestly I thought it was kind of fun. I think Rowdy could have done a better job of some things.
bad.
He's like, which bushwhacker is that? I'm like, come on, bro. Like,
Come on, man.
Come on now. And then we have the big stupid egg behind them. Backdrop to the time frame. This is during the George Herbert Walker Bush presidency era during the first Iraqi war, which is, we'll get into that a little bit later about why that's important. And Howard Finkel is plugging the announcer work, which, so good. So
And
good.
you know who works a lot hard tonight? Is Mean Gene has a lot to do tonight.
Yeah, Mean Gene is
He's
He's
all
always
over the place.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good,
Yeah.
that's a really good point. He is all over, interviewing pretty much everybody. Some of it was probably pre-taped, so a lot of it was done beforehand. But and then he does some live stuff too, which I'm sure we'll get into, which was kind of ridiculous, but not his fault.
And on a side note, Dave, you did write
Yeah.
down the interview segments and the
I did.
the egg segment, right?
I did. I got.
Okay,
I
good.
should
Because
have.
I never
everything.
do. I always go over the matches, and I rely on you to take me through the interviews because I never write them down.
Yeah.
So we'll start off. Let's go. There was a dark match, by the way, on this. Shane Douglas
Oh.
defeated Nature Boy Buddy Rose in an I Don't Care match right before the pay-per-view went on the air. They don't put the time or anything, so I don't care either. So then the pay-per-view goes live.
It's not
and-
even. It's not even on. It's not even on the network when you watch it either. It's not even,
No, it was a dark match.
Yeah.
I
it
thought
literally
this was way before Shane Douglas's time. That just blew my mind.
He was
I
way. He
remember-
wasn't the same Shane Douglas. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember him in '91. He was in Royal Rumble '91, and he was in a few.
Wow.
I remember him in '91 distinctly, but I
They were
didn't know he
really
started-
pushing him as a babyface back then.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He had, like,
I
the
get my
long hair.
ears just completely confused. It's just I have no brain
Well, I
cells
mean,
left.
don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. It's Shane
Match
Douglas.
number one.
Match
Is
number
Austin
one
in this
was
Survivor
the
Series?
was the Warriors, and I like this too because I don't remember some past ones, but they gave names to each team here. And I really liked it. It was the Warriors, which consisted of Hawk and Animal, the Legion of Doom, the Texas Tornado, and the Ultimate Warrior against the perfect team of Mr. Perfect, Axe, Crush, and Smash, the threesome of Demolition. Let me just say that the Warriors team is highly regarded as one of the greatest Survivor Series teams of all time, just from the on paper and their look. It's the Road
Yeah.
Warriors, it's the Ultimate Warrior, and it's Kerry Von Erich. And they were a great fucking team. Like I remember watching it a couple days ago, going like, God, man, like
I still had a hard time believing this was the first match. Like this was.
Yeah, they put this on
Until
first.
it
Yeah.
wasn't.
And he's champ and Warriors champ at this time.
and Warriors champ here too. So I'll go over the whole match was 14 minutes and 20 seconds. The Ultimate Warrior would become the sole survivor. Here's the order of eliminations.
Yep.
Axe was eliminated by the Ultimate Warrior. Smash
Warrior
was
Splash.
Smash, Crush, Hawk, and Animal, and I'll get in my notes too. The remaining members of Demolition and LOD had some bullshit double disqualification, which I fucking hated. Like I
didn't get
thought it
that
was
at all.
terrible. I was like, God, yeah. So they just, to keep that feud alive, they just disqualified all of them. So instantly you had just Mr. Perfect all by himself against the Texas Tornado and Mr. Perfect, or the Ultimate Warrior, excuse me.
Yeah.
And
Perfect
Mr. Perfect
becomes a damn bump machine.
Yeah,
right?
Mr. Perfect sold his ass off here and actually defeated
So
defeated Kerry Von Erich cleanly at the 11-minute mark by pinfall, and then the Ultimate Warrior would
Perfect
defeat him
plex,
at
bro.
14 minutes. Yep, right in the perfect plex, which makes sense about what Craig said, because like they are just like fucking job him out. He already lost the belt, not on TV but on the pre-tape, so they were pretty much just like job him out. I always thought it was funny, even the 8th grade Jess back here going like it. I found it really odd that Henning got a clean pin on Kerry Von Erich, and then a month later we would watch on Superstars Kerry losing to Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship.
Arnero rammed into that top turnbuckle. Now he's in trouble. The pendulum keeps swinging, Rod, back and forth.
And I don't know if the referee's seen it, but the turnbuckle has gone off that one side that he just got his head. Texas Tornado got his head around it. Oh,
Perfect plex. Yes, shoulders were down.
that's it. I got to mark him off, Gorilla. Just hang on.
Texas Tornado.
So, yeah, my notes were lame double disqualification for LOD and Demolition. I hated it. I was really surprised that Mr. Perfect got the clean pin, and I gave it a thumbs in the middle because I did not like the DQ between Demolition and LOD. I hated it. I thought that sucked. But the beginning was good because watching all the guys come down to the ring and the crowd is hype, and then the ending was cool too.
Watching Perfect bump around.
Yeah, I gave it a thumbs in the middle.
Bumps around a little bit.
Yeah, I gave it a thumbs in the middle. What do you think, Dave?
I'm gonna give it a thumbs middle too. I just even at the end, it's a cheap pop. You know, when you get DQ'd and you have to get out of the ring and just raise your hands because you're LOD just to get another pop and walk out of there. It's like whatever. Like what is this shit? But a big miss, by the way, when you talk about Kerry Von Erich getting pinned by the Perfect Plex, he actually takes a header to an open turnbuckle before that happens, and
that's right.
Not so clean from what I observed.
I mean, for WWF heel, I think that's pretty clean.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just on the definition of clean, I suppose, but it was a perfect way to, I guess, kind of defend Kerry Von Erich, but it seems a little weird when it seems like he's kind of on his way out anyway. But maybe they didn't know it here. They're trying to protect him a little bit with the heel finish, and then I also have notes. I can't believe I didn't see it then, but I see it now. I can't stand the Warriors finisher. He always
terrible.
oversteps it. There's nothing worse than just a big splash for a finish. It has no effect whatsoever. The shoulder block was decent, but the flying shoulder block. But you know who had a better flying shoulder block in that match? Freaking Hawk did.
Hawk always had a
buried
good
one.
flying shoulder block.
Yeah, and it's like,
I mean, the Warrior
what are you
coupling
doing?
it with the press slam and then into the splash, I could buy. But when he would be in there against big superstars, he wouldn't press him. He would just hit him with the splash and beat him. And I was like, why?
I'm like,
Why does that
yeah.
finish off anybody?
That to me, that's all bothersome. So thumbs middle, but yeah, but I'd give it more if anybody was a little bit better. But perfect saves the whole match. He's pretty much the ring general in there. Like Demolition don't do a damn thing. That all.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you think?
So
Thumbs in the middle too. Here's my notes. I mean, I forgot how much I dislike the Warrior. I like his stiffness in his like shoulder blocks. He's just rough. He just forearms everyone. He's so like. I just remember stories of everyone was not many people have a nice thing to say about him. And it's like I get it. I kind of get it
too. They didn't.
If you were a heel and in there with the Warrior, you had to be on your game because he just did what he wanted to do. He didn't like signal for the heel to be in place or wait for them. Warrior was just going to get his shit in. And as the heel, you had to make sure that you knew where you were at all times, because if not, Warrior was just going to literally run over you. Like he didn't care.
It doesn't matter whether you were looking, whether you ready. Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior flying tackle. 1, 2, he got it.
I lost my pencil. I lost my shirt. He got them. I can't believe it.
And this was like the peak of his like power, probably. Like he thinks it's gonna last forever. 1990 had a lot of shouting in promos. Like there's always a lot of shouting in wrestling, but they have a promo with the Warriors here, and every single one of them is just screaming.
So, all right. Well, the next match is going to hit my second milestone. It is the $1 Million Team, consisting of the Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, who are Rhythm and Blues, and Ted DiBiase and their mystery partner, who replaced Bad News Brown, who was originally supposed to be, but Bad News actually, right before this pay-per-view, had a falling out with Vince, and Vince didn't pay him what he said he was going to pay, according to Bad News, and didn't push him the way he was going to push him, according to Bad News.
You were
so
going to make me
Bad News
champion.
left,
You're going to make me champion.
and he was replaced by a guy named The Undertaker, who made his World Wrestling Federation debut on Survivor Series here with his then manager, Brother Love.
Little known fact, Undertaker was pretty good.
So without further ado, I will introduce to you now my mystery partner, led to the ring by his manager, Brother Love, weighing in at 320 pounds from Death Valley. I give you The Undertaker. The Undertaker, the mystery partner, is now revealed.
I never heard of
Oh, take a
Holy cow! Look at
Like, yeah, Undertaker became he was like a mid-card guy, not really.
He was
big
all
on
right.
that.
Yeah, he lasted a while.
Yeah, he was fine. He had like a 2 or 3 win streak on WrestleMania, and then that was it. And then he was done.
Yeah.
I literally have a note that says, "This Undertaker guy, too cartoony. I can't buy it. It'll never work. Why would a dead man wrestle? Dumb." I was just kidding. Because he really
So
wrestled for
and
the next 30
they
years.
took on the Dream Team, which consisted of Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, the Hart Foundation, who, like I said, were tag champions, Coco Beware, and Dusty Rhodes.
So there's in my opinion here, there's a trivia wrestling question that everybody should always, if you're a wrestling fan, you should always be able to answer. And who took the Undertaker's first tombstone?
It was Uncle Coco and Gorilla and
Pile driver.
and Gorilla
What a
Monsoon
great song, by the
actually
way. What a great
Gorilla
song.
Monsoon actually messed up. Because
Yeah,
he goes,
he's not supposed to know
oh,
the
he
name of
nailed
it."
him with a tombstone. And then Piper's like, what was that? And he was like, well, I think it's a tombstone.
He's like, I bet
And I
it's
was
a
like,
tombstone.
ah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He was
And
what
supposed
again,
to
it's
leak it,
because
so, yeah.
Monsoon was at the Superstars taping before this, where Undertaker had debuted.
Yeah, so either way, even if Bad News made it, they were just going to save The Undertaker for the debut of that session of the TV tapings that they were doing. But what's important here, and this is my second milestone, arguably Vince's greatest character of all time, one of the most iconic wrestlers ever, dare I say in the top 10 of greatest wrestlers of all time, with his influence, his work, his longevity, everything. What do you say about The Undertaker? We've talked about it on our review of The Last Ride whenever he retired on his documentary. What he became, when I was watching this, I actually had to stop myself and just watch him. And I was like, God, like,
He was
what
really
a
good.
career he would go on to have. It's odd. You never knew watching the beginning here. And little known fact, too, in the TV tapings that Craig talked about, that they never aired, some of them, his original name was Kane the Undertaker. And they dropped Kane because Bruce Pritchard had a big part in creating the Undertaker character, and Bruce Pritchard also created Kane. So when they didn't use Kane here, I think they just thought it was too much. Why do you need 2 names? Just call him the Undertaker.
Just call him the
so they
Undertaker.
did that, and that's why Brother Love was his manager here, because he helped create the character. About a month later or 2 months later, Percy Pringle would enter the WWF and become Paul Bearer, and the rest there is history. But yes, his original manager was Brother Love, and it was just so weird to me to watch him come out to his original music, and it was just crazy. And right away, yeah, they would have gotten his gimmick across by having him debut on WWF Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. But here he was immediately in the ring with superstars like Rhodes, the Hart Foundation. I'm not making a joke, but Coco was a big star too. They all had WWF exposure. Rhodes was a legend. And he was handling them. They booked him to handle these guys. He disposed of Coco easy, which I know everyone kind of did.
He threw
but
Dusty
still,
around like a rag doll.
Yeah, he manhandled Dusty, and they sent a message with this match to get him over right away. So I just find it really interesting that while they would have achieved the same goal eventually by debuting him on WWF Superstars, they did it immediate here with live performance, right in there with superstars, shoulder to shoulder with other big names. Like, it was a huge statement that paid off big time. I still think the gimmick would have gotten over, but what an amazing moment, like watching him come down and knowing what he'd become. The entire match was 13 minutes and 54 seconds. Sorry, I was long-winded there. Coco Beware was eliminated after 1 minute and 39 seconds by The Undertaker and the debut of the Tombstone Pile Driver. Honky Tonk Man was eliminated by Jim the Anvil Neidhart at 4 minutes. Ted DiBiase
Power Slam, right?
Yeah, Ted DiBiase beat the Anvil at 5 minutes. The Undertaker eliminated Dusty Rhodes by pinfall, again, booking him strong at 8 minutes. The Undertaker kind of got counted out. He started fighting Dusty Rhodes and got counted out so they could save face and he didn't have to lose the match or win, because you couldn't put Taker in the match of survival because he was too new and you didn't want to damage his character. So that makes total sense. Bret Hart defeated Greg Valentine at 9 minutes, and I put I loved watching Bret and DiBiase in the final 4 minutes or whatever it was.
Match.
Piper mentioned that Bret lost his brother, I think he died from a staph infection of the flesh-eating bacteria, I want to say. I believe it was his brother that Piper said passed away. So
which one?
I don't remember what the name of it was. Piper said it, and I can't remember his name, but he mentioned it at the end. He's like, Bret Hart, who just lost his own brother a couple days ago.
I didn't know that.
I want to say it was the brother that was practicing on a wrestling ring they had in the backyard at Stu's house, and he got staph infection from it, which turned into the flesh-eating bacteria and killed him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And on that high note, DiBiase pinned Bret Hart and would become the sole survivor. So now in the match of survival right now, it's the Ultimate Warrior against Ted DiBiase. And I give it a thumbs up. I like the way this match was worked because of Bret at the end. The debut of The Undertaker was, you can't forget that. I thought everybody worked well with him and was unselfish, and they put Taker over. I thought it was a good match for a Survivor Series match, right? It was so I give it a thumbs up. It was a well-worked match.
I think it was well. I also give it a thumbs up, but I think it always comes to the fact that when Bret's working a match, it's pretty well orchestrated, and they probably had a lot to do in organization before. They didn't want to, quite frankly, they didn't want to fuck up Undertaker's debut. So there's a lot to be said of what happens and how it happens. So it was probably the most well-organized match of the night. I also put notes here that I feel like this was a test, at least one of the first tests for Bret Hart, to see what's going to happen if they ever wanted to take him solo. That 4 minutes makes a difference, and to put him in a spot like that, even though he didn't win, I think that was definitely a test for Bret, because he gets up and he's waiting for crowd response too, to kind of see how it goes. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I definitely gave the match a thumbs up. That was kind of what my feeling on that match. They wanted to see what he could do on the main stage a little bit, if he was that last person in there, and how the crowd responded. Obviously, they loved him. You could see that they went nuts for Bret. So I don't know, thoughts on that? What do you guys think?
Yeah, my thumbs up also. I think this was the best match of the night. It had kind of two segments. It was like Undertaker's debut, and then it was kind of Bret to shine towards the end. And my notes were the polka dots for Dusty. I said poor Coco, and then he takes a botched tombstone. It looked like Undertaker botched his first ever tombstone. He hit it too close to the ropes, and he almost didn't get all of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, for the first one. And I don't think he ever tried the tombstone again after this.
No. His finisher was the armbar.
He's always to switch it up. Taker actually pins Dusty, and I just wrote Taker pins Dusty. Damn. And then,
Up to the top, look at that! He walked right along that top rope. I don't believe it. He didn't even go off his feet. It's over. He's out of there. He got it. The dream has been eliminated. Hey, these guys have got a raw deal here, man. They did not know who the mystery man was going to be. They got blown.
damn. And then after Bret's kind of performance, each match has its own little MVP and worker.
Sure.
Perfect in this one. Bret in this one. We'll talk about Michaels in the next one. But what was cool is Bret Hart drops a legit F-bomb after getting kind of pinned by DiBiase in this.
When he got caught, he's all fuck like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Which is cool. It was like perfect for the character, because you actually for a second thought he could win.
You felt like he was a real athlete that just got caught real quick, and he's like fuck, like it's just that.
And he almost caught DiBiase in the process.
Little things you don't see nowadays that made wrestling real back then. As cartoony as it was in WWF here, you had guys that were so smart like Bret, and they would just do things that would make you think it's real. And him just, after he got pinned, he looked around and he was like, and he realized he got pinned. He's like, fuck. Like, and it's just, he was bummed. He lost a match. He didn't want to lose the match. Like, that
wasn't really hurt. He just got caught. He was
being
tired,
a character out. It's so simple, yet they don't do that stuff anymore. So,
Duck underneath, look up. Yes! High crossbody. No, kick. It's over. Ted DiBiase has advanced to the grand finale, the match of survival.
anymore. So, Dave, was there some kind of bullshit interview segment on it?
Oh, there sure was. The Vipers are getting interviewed with Jake obviously, and Damien.
You see my wide eye.
Oh, in a shower, Dave.
in the
Name
shower?
the location.
I was getting there. I was trying
Hey
to
guys,
for effect.
teams bond in any way possible. Apparently, these guys bonded in the shower.
And they
fine.
bonded in the shower. And Jake's white eye, I think, looks. I mean, as ridiculous as the storyline, it does look so creepy and spooky.
It does. It looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jake puts on a great promo, but just saying that he does that every time. Jake, I've never heard Jake have a bad promo, unless he was drunk somewhere like 30 years later, maybe. But even then, I probably didn't hear it. But yeah, they're saying that it's good for Damien to be in the shower. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. This is fucking stupid.
And me too.
But the promo itself was great, and then what's even funnier is that no one else really talked. Like Sean and they were just.
Why would you? At that point, when he lays down a good promo, Jake, I'd be
you're like, I'm not going to top.
I'd be all, and cut, and
let's get out of here.
Snuka does like berserker hoofs.
Yeah, he does.
Behind him.
He always used to do that though. We kind of forget that he always. Oof.
He loves water as well. The next match is the Visionaries, which was Hercules and Paul Roma. Dave hates the team of Power and Glory.
Yeah, they're terrible. I can't.
They teamed with the Warlord and Rick Martel, and they defeated the Vipers, which consisted of Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, and the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. 17 minutes was a bit long in the tooth for me, but I do like the story that they told. I know Dave said the gimmick is silly, but I was cool with Jake, and they really just decimated his team to make Jake all by himself. Like, so you had sympathy for Jake. Marty Jannetty got defeated by the Warlord by pinfall at 5 minutes. Rick Martel defeated Jimmy Snuka by pinfall at 9 minutes. Paul Roma defeated Shawn Michaels at 15 minutes and 40 seconds, which was a very interesting matchup, by the way, because those two are really good athletes. And Jake Roberts got counted out after just being overwhelmed by all 4 members of the Visionaries, who survived at 17 minutes and 42 seconds. So
look at Martel, scared to death. After him. Martel, you coward, you did the least. Stand in the ring and Jake the Snake. 9.
The Snake Roberts has been counted out. Therefore, Visionary.
Wow, the entire team, including the model, of course, the whole team. The first time down Main Street, Hartford. January 19th.
So now we have the Ultimate Warrior all by himself against all 4 members of the Visionaries and Ted DiBiase in the match of survival so far. And they were the first team in the Survivor Series 4-year history to ever survive as a whole. The Visionaries were.
That's the first time it ever happened. That's my.
I give the match a thumbs up. It wasn't as obviously good as the match before, but I liked the way this match was worked a lot because they told the ultimate story. They just wanted to get Jake down by himself, and you get sympathy on him. The poor guy's got one eye, and he's getting the shit beat out of him by 4 guys. And
you're continuing that model Jake feud, right?
So, and again, you're thinking, okay, the winner's got to go on here too. So a lot of people probably thought Jake's going to move on, like he's going to find some way to overcome with one eye and get the model alone. He never did, or at least maybe he'd eliminate the model and then he'd get overwhelmed to get beat. But no, all those members survived. So I give it a thumbs up. It was a little long. I think if it was like 4 minutes shaved off, it might have been a little bit better. So I could understand if people give it a different rating. Craig, I'm going to mix it up. Craig, what do you think about this match?
Go for it.
Yeah, I give it thumbs in the middle. I think thumbs up. The only match for me on this card is that one previous to this one, but it's good. Hercules impressed me in this one. I was talking before we kind of started the podcast, but actually both Hercules and Roma, you forget like how kind of good they were. Someone hits the button on the Shawn Michaels bump machine like halfway through this, and he goes for like 2.5, 3 minutes just taking everyone's bumps and trying to steal it. Yeah, it was good. And then the thing about being the entire team being the sole survivors on the hillside, kind of wacky, but it did work. But it was good.
I'll give it a thumbs up because of the body of work in between it. It is a weird way that it lays out, but yeah.
So what do we have an interview segment afterwards, Dave?
We actually have a couple of things going on. We have a Royal Rumble teaser coming into the segment real quick. January is the Royal. This is where it's teams, but then it's every man for himself.
Which was a Saturday, by the way.
It was coming up on a Saturday. And
yeah.
Fuck, was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why the promo, unless I was completely confused, but I thought they said Saturday, which made no sense to me.
They did do wacky stuff, and we forget too the first few SummerSlams were on Mondays.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Because it was summer.
Because it was summer, yeah. You hadn't quite
Kids
gone
were
back
off
to school
school,
yet.
so
yeah.
you could have it on
Traditionally,
Monday.
schools went back after Labor Day, which was
Yeah.
first week of September. So yeah, it was on Mondays.
You would bring your portable TV to the beach on a Monday.
Yeah, and watch SummerSlam.
And there is an interview after the Royal Rumble teaser. It's Sean Mooney, by the way. We kind of forgot about him too. With Hogan's team, and everybody gets a little slice of interview time.
Hulk Hogan, you've got your team assembled.
Well, everybody knows me, Gene. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty, dude, you might as well throw the rule book out the window. We're talking about Survivor Series. That's why when we get in there and it gets crazy, anything goes, brother. And that's also why my maniacs have been hanging out on Venice Beach. And as we've been riding the big ones, man.
Not the best work of Hogan here.
Just go ahead and
like
say
he's
it.
just kind of flying by the seat of his
Terrible.
yellow tights.
Whoa. Oh,
So
shots fired.
let's steamroll into that match. So now we got one of the other big matches here. The Hulkamaniacs consisted of the Big Boss Man, Hulk Hogan, Jim Dugan, and Tugboat, and they defeated the Natural Disasters, which I find funny, this name, which consisted of the Barbarian, Dino Bravo, Earthquake, and Haku, who replaced Rick Rude, who right before this had a falling out and ended up going to WCW. Got almost a year later, actually. He just left after this.
Another pop quiz here. Who's the genuine tough man in this match? Who's the real tough guy?
Who am I looking at here? Probably Earthquake and Haku. I mean,
I was gonna say Haku, but you're
so
right.
yeah,
Earthquake was a genuine
Rick
sumo wrestler,
Rude was
so
actually in
both.
a program right before this because he made fun of the Boss Man's mother. So that he was in a feud with the Boss Man. Rick Rude became frustrated with that feud, especially since the pay-per-view before he main evented against the Warrior in a cage. And Rude wanted to go to the next level, and Vince did not see that for him. So he put him in a feud, making fun of the Big Boss Man's mother. And so when all that was going on, Rude just before this event said, "I'm out of here. I don't like the direction that you're putting me in." And I want to say Rude, he no-showed something because he wanted time off or something. I'm going to mess it up, so I'm not going to. It was some disagreement he and Vince had about time off. And so Vince was pissed that he was advertised and didn't show up. So basically Rude's like, well, fuck you then. If you're not going to pay me or push me, then I'm out of here. And
when you think about that cage match with Warrior and the build-up for it, the storyline work that I'm sure that Brother Love was doing in the back, but Rude put on, I want to say, a good 15, 20 pounds of extra muscle. For that time. That's when Rude got.
He
really
was trying.
big.
It was like a cruiserweight boxer going up the heavyweight division. He was trying to.
But he was legitimately trying to get into the land of giants because he wasn't that big before. He was shredded, but he was very light. And he literally put on 20 pounds of muscle, probably thinking he was going to be that main event stasher for some time. And like you said, Vince just didn't see it for him, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's so stupid.
Yeah, he was good.
That guy should have been around forever. Just chasing on a hill.
And like I said, he would leave here and he wouldn't resurface in the wrestling until WCW in Halloween Havoc of 1991, which was almost a year, like 11 months later.
Yeah,
he wasn't afraid to flip off and just go, "Fuck you, I'm out."
Yeah.
This would not be the last time he
was like
fucks
that.
off. Yeah,
Absolutely.
he became quite good at it.
Rest in peace, Rude. God damn it, I love
Yeah.
you.
Can I also say here that when the intros come in with these guys, and I'm sure that it's Jimmy Hart that put this music together, but the Boss Man's music was dope. It was so good.
People responded.
You guys
to
remember?
him.
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia.
Yeah. If you ever take a trip.
I forgot that he was a face. Because with all his kind of gimmicks, I guess I just remember him fondest as a heel.
Yeah. But he was
And
here.
his-
He slimmed down quite a bit here too, and he was like a face for a few months already at this point too, because he didn't know. Slick tried to sell him to DiBiase, and he's like, "I'm nobody's slave." Back when they played off slavery and selling people.
You can't do that.
So, well, come on, David. Boss Man stood up to it. I'll tell you that much. So we're going to go on to the match here. It was 14 minutes and 49 seconds, which was about right-ish. It probably should have ended after 5. Because these are bloated men on both sides. Big Boss Man defeated
lots of beers drank over here.
Yeah, Big Boss Man defeated Haku by pinfall at 3 minutes. Duggan
what the
got
F on that. Yeah.
Duggan
Short
got
night for
disqualified. What did Duggan do? I don't even remember. Duggan annoys me.
He
was DQ'd,
he
but I
hit the
think-
2x4 over the back on a few.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was.
Duggan is so fucking.
And then he was
sloppy.
shocked by it.
Yeah,
What?
Duggan's so sloppy. He got DQ'd at 6 minutes 12 seconds. He's so fucking sloppy. He bothers me. Hulk Hogan pinned Dino Bravo at 7 minutes 59 seconds.
Small package.
Earthquake beat the Big Boss Man at 9 minutes. Tugboat and Earthquake both got counted out at 11 minutes and 33 seconds, and Hulk Hogan defeated the Barbarian to win the match at 14 minutes. So now it is Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior against all 4 members of the Visionary and Ted DiBiase lined up for the finals. Overall,
don't forget that Bobby took a whole series of bumps towards the end of that match too with Hogan.
Who does?
He did.
Bobby Heenan.
He does, because
I was going to say that earlier in the perfect match.
He did
I
that
forgot
too.
how before Sprain stopped taking bumps. A lot of the managers in
this night might have been why he started taking
Slick
bumps.
takes a heck load of bumps and a bad bump in the last match, but Heenan takes a bump in the perfect match over the guardrail. On
he
his
goes
back
over
on
the rail,
concrete.
yeah.
And he does one like before he hurt his neck. He was incredible.
This might have been the last event that
man.
Heenan took bumps on, to be quite honest, because I think you saw him just bump the shit out of himself all over on this pay-per-view, and I think Heenan's like, I'm kind of done with that at this point. But I gave the match a thumbs down. It was boring. Whoa. It was plotting. Hogan was terrible and sloppy, and so was Duggan, and they made me upset. And I hate Tugboat, and I didn't like any of it. And
it wasn't as good as we all probably imagined.
I would like to have thought that maybe if Rude was a part of this, that it would have been down to Rude and Hogan, which would have been awesome. But that's my fan guy trying to fantasy book. Which
Did they ever lock up when you think about it?
Some house shows, and that was it.
Hulkster off the ropes, the big leg, yes!
That's insane.
But yeah, thumbs down. I hated Hogan's haircut here. It's like he fell asleep in the barber chair and he just said, "Do whatever, brother." And they cut it way too short, because normally, yes, Hogan's balding on top, but his hair always kind of hit the top of his shoulders a little bit. Here it was like short and like a V in the back. It looked ridiculous. I hated it. And I hated him on this pay-per-view. I don't know why I hated this match. Thumbs down. Go ahead,
I feel like Survivor Series was his time. Like, he just took time out. He didn't care about the working. He didn't care about the promo work.
It was never in question. He was not going to win. Like, I know some Survivor Series he didn't, but like it was most times it was never a question he was going to be a survivor. And this was one of those times. Like, who's going to pin Hogan in this?
Oh my God! Well, what was the segment after this, Dave?
The segment after this is Mean Gene brings out a special guest.
Oh God,
to be the Macho Man.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry, I thought we were going
I'm
the other
gripping
way.
my chair. I'm like, it's coming. I know it's coming.
Yeah. So this is. I think this is interesting because you can tell that you didn't know what was coming per se, but this led into a major feud for, I want to say, close to over a year with Macho and Warrior, kind of all over the country. And it sparks obviously with a major major heel tactic that causes Warrior to lose the title to Slaughter, which pushes us into WrestleMania the following year. But it also pushes, because Macho's like, no, I'm really the champion. I'm the one that's legitimate. I'm the one who deserves the title. It hasn't been that long since I was champion. I'm coming after you, Warrior. And you can see that they're kind of planting the seed there a little bit, which was interesting because I don't think I saw that interview before. At least I didn't remember.
Can I tell you why this makes me mad? Okay,
you tell me.
Because they don't fucking do this anymore. Like this
I thought you were mad at that. You're mad
and they pre-laid out the story for January, and which carried on to WrestleMania between Warrior and Savage. What the fuck? Like, it's just, and that's only 4 months.
It sets up Hogan to Slaughter.
Yeah. And it sets up Hogan to Slaughter at the same time. It moves Savage and Warrior out of the way, and then it gets Slaughter in there. Like, oh my God, what, they don't do that anymore, and I hate it. I hate it! Like, it makes me so mad watching wrestling today because they don't do that. Yes, I know pay-per-views are every month. Yes, wrestling moves a lot faster, but you don't have to fucking feature everybody on every pay-per-view every month. You can tell stories. Like, look at this, like Dave just said. He went out there and did an interview. That's it. Savage wasn't even on the card tonight. And he said, blah, 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 I'm coming after the Warrior. So as fans, we knew, oh shit, Savage used to be champion, right? Savage is still a good wrestler. Savage is still a superstar. And even if Savage was heel, you still liked him because he's fucking Macho Man. What are you going to do? Not like Macho Man?
Yeah.
Like, so you're like, yes, and people like the Warrior. So people are like, I like it. I'm daddy likey. And you can even think in your head as fans, maybe this is the Mania main event in a few months. Maybe this is whatever. but they told stories, and like you said, they brought in Slaughter with it. They brought Hulk into it. They used Savage to cost the Warrior the title. It was like a 4-month laid out nice storyline. Forget the Desert Storm shit. I'm talking about the Savage and Warrior stuff. It was nicely laid out. It made me mad when I watched it because I'm like, I miss storytelling. I miss this. Like, it made me upset about today's product. God, I'm sorry. Fuck.
Well, if you want to know what makes me even more upset, it's the next round, because I don't understand this at all. We're getting into the next match, but before that can even happen, Mean Gene catches Sergeant Slaughter and his team en route to the ring and literally does like it feels like a 10-minute interview. It is so ridiculous.
And Slaughter's fucking annoying theme music with just the military drums in the background.
Yeah, just like
blaring away while he's like,
Baghdad,
Baghdad, United States and Iraq. And I'm like, oh,
listen to me, puke. I'm like, oh my God.
So yeah, so we'll get into this fucking terrible goddamn match. It's 10 minutes.
And I think too, yeah, and that's the problem. I'm like, did they do this because they had time and they had to make sure the match was quick? I'm trying to figure it out, because you have a slotted amount of pay-per-view time, but it makes the match go really fast, which
good.
I'm also in my mind, I'm like, thank God. But
good. This match was disgusting.
It was disgusting, but also I think there was a lot of missed things in there, because you do have the Orient Express that could work in there, but they didn't
in
do
face
shit.
Camo. It was a highlight. Yeah.
So the
I completely
Alliance,
forgot about that horse shit too.
It was the next Survivor Series match is 10 minutes and 52 seconds. It's the Alliance, which consisted of Butch and Luke, the Bushwhackers, Nikolai Volkov, and Tito Santana, and they defeated the Mercenaries, which consisted of on Boris Zukov, who replaced Akeem, who left the company about like 2 weeks before, Sergeant Slaughter, Sato and Tanaka, the Orient Express, with Mr. Fuji as their manager, and General Adnan was Sergeant Slaughter's manager.
I called this the
this match was so fucking.
This is the go to the bathroom match.
This match was so fucking brutal. Tito Santana beat Boris Zukov in 48 seconds. Bushwhacker Butch defeated Sato in 1 minute and 46 seconds. Tito Santana beat Tanaka 2 minutes 13 seconds. Slaughter beat Volkov 5 minutes. Slaughter beat Luke 6 minutes. Slaughter beat Bushwhacker Butch 6 minutes 53 seconds. And at the end, Slaughter gets disqualified, which allows Tito to win and go on to the main event match, which is now complete. Tito Santana, the Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan will take on all 4 members of the Visionaries and Ted DiBiase. Yeah, my notes were, this match was awful. It made me sad inside. Thumbs down. Good for Tito, though. That was all I put.
Good for Tito. We like Tito.
We like Tito.
We do like Tito.
You know what my notes say on this? It is a thumbs down, but the first thing I noticed was 2 things. It's called the Alliance, and there's not one American in this alliance. First of all,
correct.
But the reason why that's funny is because somewhere in the middle of the match, one of the Bushwhackers, I can't remember if it's Luke or Butch, but they start chanting USA and getting the crowd to chant USA. It's like there's no Americans on your side.
You're from New Zealand, dude.
It's just completely misguided booking.
You have you have a Russian, right? You know, and you have you have 2 New Zealanders, and you have and you have Hispanic, probably Hispanic American at least. So I guess we can cheer for USA. But
what was your rating? Thumbs up, Dave?
Huh?
You thumbs up? You give this match?
Oh, it's a downer, bro. It's a downer.
So real quick before you go, Craig. Craig and I were talking before we hit record, and I just looked at this with 43-year-old Jess's eyes. I did not think about this at the time, and I don't know why I didn't. So Slaughter gets disqualified to protect his gimmick because obviously they would use Slaughter at Royal Rumble to beat the Warrior and blah, blah, blah. It would have been so much more effective, and I hate fantasy booking, but it's a bit of fantasy booking here. Why wouldn't Slaughter have defeated Santana and gone on to the end, and then them just Hogan and Warrior? Because it's all about Hogan and Warrior, right? Who fucking cares? They could beat the world. So have Slaughter go on to the end. So it's 6 people against Hogan and Warrior, but not even the heels want anything to do with Slaughter because he's an American turncoat. That would have put so much heat on
Slaughter. Him packing.
Yeah,
we have enough people get out of here.
Slaughter just looks at him, and Slaughter goes, "Yeah, fuck you," and walks away. And he wouldn't say "fuck you." He'd be like, "Yeah, shut up, maggots," and then he would get counted out.
Okay, pukes.
He would get counted out right away, never enter the match, so then it would go down to 5 versus 2 and do that. I love Santana. I'm glad he did. But if you really wanted to put some stank on the heel Sergeant Slaughter and get him ready for Rumble, you would put him in that main event match. He would beat Santana, first of all. Santana was a mid-card guy. I hate to say it here at this point.
At this point,
so
especially.
If Slaughter can't even beat a mid-card guy and go over, why does he get a title shot the next month? It makes zero sense.
But Jess, the reason why you needed Tito was, I mean, who's gonna beat the Warlord? Seriously,
This is true. Actually,
who's gonna do that?
as I said that out loud and you just said that point, I feel foolish for even challenging it because you're correct.
Now I feel
That
foolish.
had to happen in life. That had to happen. So, Craig, go ahead. What do you think about this match? Sorry.
Thumbs down. It was Sergeant Slaughter's kind of test event for his main event run. He spent a brunt of the work in the ring. I respected it watching it with my 44-year-old eyes, but he wasn't ready and he was pretty winded. It was a pretty terrible match, and the promo before it didn't work. And then
That was brutal.
it was a good harbinger because his entire program as a turncoat kind of, almost destroyed WrestleMania. And blew on the company's down decline. So it didn't work, but
even the
down.
interview didn't make sense.
No,
Craig,
I couldn't.
because
You couldn't
in the
understand a
beginning-
word he's saying. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But even
I just
what
kept
you
looking
could
at his jaw.
understand, he was praising Iraq, but then he would shit on Iraq, saying, "Hey, there's no camels here. There's no sand in my Thanksgiving dinner." I'm like, what are you?
Yeah.
So what do you support exactly?
This was the first thing live for the Armed Forces Network or whatever.
Yeah, he
So
was
it was like
mocking,
some kind of
mocking the
tie-in.
troops that were overseas celebrating Thanksgiving from their tents in army food for Thanksgiving. And he was like, "There's no
I
sand
get that,
in
but
my
like you say you love Iraq, and then you shit on the sand, and you shit on the fact that there's camels there. It doesn't tie together. That's what I'm saying.
You're not
like-
supposed to look that far into it, maggot.
Yeah, you're in too deep, maggot.
You son of a bitch."
So, I remember that too. I was just
It was almost as bad as what comes next.
Well,
so
we got,
I know
we got Sean Mooney with the Visionaries.
Not that.
And the $1 Million Man, and
Okay.
they do a real shit interview there.
All right.
And then you get on to the big stack of
So
shit.
I know we are running long on this review, but Dave, here's my notes for you.
Let's do it.
Just describe this really fucking slow because I want to get upset. I want to soak in this.
Okay.
For a long
The
time.
best part of this whole, and by the way, what we're trying to preface is in the beginning we talked about the big egg. We're all wondering what's in the egg.
For weeks.
We honestly,
4 weeks before they're
For
talking
weeks.
about
They're talking
something's going to
about-
hatch out of this egg on Survivor
it's going to hatch
Series.
at Survivor Series.
Yes.
We thought it was going to be some amazing wrestler, which, by the way,
gonna
the
debut?
person that was underneath it is not a bad wrestler. But we thought, it's going to be some amazing person. We're going to see some.
Well,
big
and let me
debut.
tell you here too. This first of all, this is the third thing of my 3 things that are historic. This spawned Wrestle Crap because every year the Wrestle Crap they give an award called the Gobbledygooker Award to the worst angle or whatever for the year, and this spawned Wrestle Crap in a sense. This is this and the Shockmaster are the holy grail of Wrestle Crap.
Wrestle Crap.
And so
pave the way. Yeah.
Th-
So
that-
when
but
you
in
get
the
into it,
wrestling
Mean
landscape-
Gene is having fun. He's making
I'm sure he
wisecracks
is.
next to
I'm
the
sure he
egg.
was.
It's getting hot in here, so it must be ready to hatch. But he's having fun, and finally, the goddamn thing hatches, and it's the gobbledygooker. And really, like,
Oh, there it is! What is it?
What in a world? Oh my God! What in the world?
and really, like, what is this? It's got big feet and it's a beak, and he's just like gobbledygooker, and you're like, what did you say?
it was somebody dressed up, and Dave said it was Guerrero Senior.
Yeah, it's Guerrero Senior, who is a great wrestler, by the
He's
way.
in a turkey
wow.
costume.
Eddie's dad?
Yes. Wait.
Wow.
no, yeah.
No,
And
he's
his
part of the
uncle,
Guerrero
his
family.
uncle.
I don't think it was his dad.
I wanna say it was his
listened to
uncle.
last night. God dang it! Now I can't remember.
It was his uncle, I think.
I think it was his uncle. Yeah, you're right. It was his uncle. So
His uncle was a chicken?
Yes, he was a turkey.
well, it was a gobbledygooker.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, turkey. Sorry.
The eyes looked
Get
like
it right.
the gobbledygooker's eyes looked like a golf ball was cut in half, and each
It
half
did.
was
Yeah,
put-
I
exactly what it
had
was.
that in my notes. Yeah, it looked like a giant golf ball cut in
So,
half.
so the wrestling landscape back here, Lex Luger, for no reason, lost the U.S. title to Stan Hansen at Halloween Havoc of 1990 in October. So, there was no internet back here, obviously, and everything, but if you were like a hardcore wrestling fan, people actually thought that Luger was going to be in
gonna
the
come
egg,
out.
that he lost abruptly to Stan Hansen because he came to some kind of
he was
disagreement
bailing, yeah.
and he was jumping ship. Also, a lot of people started surfacing that Flair wanted to leave because, again, he hated Jim Herd and he was getting up to it. Jim Herd wanted him to cut his hair and become Spartacus and all that shit. So this is like 8 months, 9 months before Flair actually left, but a lot of people were thinking it was him. There was a lot of people were the AWA, I want to say, just folded at this point. So They were thinking maybe it was going to be somebody from the AWA. That there was all kinds of things that people thought it was going to be, and it ended up being just a stupid fucking gimmick.
So
first of all,
the stupid gobbledygooker comes out of the egg and literally drags Mean Gene to the ring, and it feels like it takes forever just to get Gene in the ring, and he just wants to dance with Mean Gene.
The crowd is booing, by the way.
The crowd is booing it, but it's funny. They only pan to the people that are clapping with
Right.
it, and it's oh sorry, my mic just went nuts. But it literally, they're dancing. I don't know if you noticed, but they're dancing to Cotton Eye Joe. I don't know if you guys have figured that out.
Yeah.
And the crowd's like, they're like, oh, this is great. Some are like, they're on shoulders and they're clapping. I'm like, oh, what is this shit? And then what happens is like, Guerrero starts to do some amazing, acrobatic work in there and says, okay, you do it, Gene. And Gene's like, no. And then he does a cartwheel. Gene tries to do a cartwheel and it's a fucking disaster. He falls. I'm like, that you probably just took 5 years off Mean Gene's like, thanks, gobbledygooker, dick. We could have had Mean Gene for 5 more years, but no, you wanted to do a fucking cartwheel on Survivor Series. Such an epic waste of time.
Why would they hype it?
Yeah.
First of all, why an egg? It's not Easter. Secondly, I don't understand why if you're not going to have a wrestler make a surprise appearance, then why hype it for weeks before the pay-per-view? They could have just opened the pay-per-view and been like, people are what's this egg, Hot Rod? I don't know, man. Come on, man. It could have been that. And then they could, and if they were going to do a feel-good clap moment, because they just really wanted to give Santana a rest before the main event, it had to have been
That's
why.
literally it. That's literally it.
So why,
they had to keep
why
it
hype
up,
it for weeks? They hyped it like they would hype when a wrestler's making a debut. That's what they did. That was the sin. That's why this qualifies as wrestle crap. That's why if we never heard anything about an egg at all, and then like I said, they opened the pay-per-view and Monsoon's like, oh, it's Survivor Series, it's Thanksgiving night. But Piper, there's an egg here. If they did that and it was just like a theme for the pay-per-view, I'm fine with that. No problem. But they hyped it legitly.
You wouldn't have wrestle crap. So
that's true
in my
too.
mind,
Again, another point that Dave makes.
Thank God for the gobbledygooker.
You know what? You're right.
Thank you, gobbledygooker, for your service.
I had not seen this full segment before, so I didn't realize the length.
I'm pretty
of it.
sure when we watched it at Jess' house, we always fast forward it because he was so bad.
You've seen it in the highlight reels, and so I saw it hatch, and I went, I'm going to talk about it on the podcast. And then I went to go take a dump and left the event running, and my bathroom's down the hall. And it's a Friday night after work, kind of like I've had some chips, I've had a beer, it's a double flush. But anyway, it took a little while. And
kind of like the segment, right?
There was a moment towards and I was out of 3 minutes. I was like, it's still going. I do not remember any of the stuff in the music, ring. I do not remember the long thing. But all that to say, I was like, wait, what? And I came back. It'd been 4 minutes, and he was still in the ring. And I was just like, okay, this is a component of how hated it is. It wasn't just the thing. It was so drawn out
in your face, like knowing that we teased you for weeks and then we delivered this shit.
Like that's what I was gonna say. Vince is in the back going, look at this stupid shit. Yeah,
I bet he was in the back. I bet he was at home in Stanford on the phone laughing.
Yeah, with a big drumstick in his orders.
and
turkey leg.
So at the risk of running long, we all hated the segment. But I know that they had an interview with Santana, Warrior, and Hogan. I will steal your thunder, Dave.
No, you're good.
And for whatever odd reason, Hulk Hogan, I think, forgot Santana's name and called him the Ariba Man, which I found fucking hilarious. That's right. Santana's standing next to Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and Santana's like, "All right, baby," like he's excited. I really made it, blah, blah. And Santana's a legend at this point. Legitly, he's a fucking world-traveled veteran at this point. He's amazing, two-time former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion. Santana's a man. A goddamn man. And but instead of Hulk Hogan going Tito Santana, he's like, and me, the Warrior, and the Ariba Man. I forgot your name, bro. I'm so sorry. It's ridiculous.
And before that, he's like, we came in together, brother, and from the very beginning, me and Ariba Man have been started here. I was like, you what an asshole. Poor Tito.
Why do I hate Hogan in this pay-per-view? I just
you did like you're
I'm telling you, Survivor Series, he didn't. He
was annoying as fuck in this pay-per-view, and so
he's second banana here. He's probably not happy with his place. I don't know whether he knows where everything's going.
You are right, but at the same time, they used him to give the Warrior a rub again. Because why do what they did? So this leads into the grand finale match of survival. It was Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ariba Man against all four members of the Visionaries, Power and Glory, Ted DiBiase,
Rick the Martel,
Martel, and the Warlord. And let me tell you right away,
Warlord wins it.
So
with the $1 Million Man.
Hulk Hogan hates the Warlord, and I'll tell you why. Because every Royal Rumble, Hulk Hogan, if you go back, Hulk Hogan eliminates the Warlord from every Royal Rumble that they encounter each other in. I'm not fucking lying to you. Go back and watch it. So for like 3 years straight, Hogan dumps him over. Even
like immediately.
Yeah, because he's fucking, there's something bothers Hogan about the Warlord. On a Saturday Night's Main Event Battle Royal, he dumps the fucking Warlord over. I'm not lying to you. This is all on tape. So on this one, Hulk Hogan's like, I've been getting a lot of fucking critique about always shitting on the Warlord, so a Reba Man will do it. And so basically, the match didn't even start. Like, they get in the ring, Warrior comes in his theme music, and fucking Hogan's bopping his head or whatever, and Santana. And then out of nowhere, before the match starts, the bell rings. Santana runs off Hogan punches the Warlord. That's right. Hogan walked up to the Warlord and he's like, how you doing, fuck? And then punches him in the face. And then Santana hits the ropes, hits a flying forearm, and pins the Warlord, the biggest guy in the match, in 28 seconds in the match of survival. And as a kid, I remember going, I was so happy for Tito. And my notes say, good for Tito again.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Hogan is like hating the Warlord here. They just did this all the time to the Warlord. It was fucking hilarious. And then at 1 minute and 51 seconds, DiBiase went ahead and pinned Santana. So good job, Santana, for a minute and 51
for
seconds.
all that work.
And then Rick Martel got counted out. I think he just gave up. Yep. He got the shit beat out of him.
He was getting picked on pretty hard. He just walks away.
And then Hulk Hogan defeated Ted DiBiase by pinfall, 8 minutes and 30 seconds, because Hogan's always got to be DiBiase. And the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hercules, ironically, who was the last. Sorry, Hulk Hogan also beat Paul Roma earlier as well.
I missed that too. I missed the Paul Roma. I must have got.
And real quick, Jess, the gobbledygooker segment, I just realized it wasn't to give Tito Santana a break at all, because they wouldn't do that. It was to give Hogan more of a break because he had the match before Tito. That's exactly what it was. You're welcome. Continue.
I'm so tired, brother. Can we do a thing?
I'm going to need 25 minutes, 25, 27 minutes.
I'm going to need 30 minutes tops, brother. Arriba, man. So, and then Ultimate Warrior defeats Hercules, who was the last man, 9 minutes, 7 seconds.
Yes.
The winners of the match of survival in
the
spirit
Ultimate
is
Survivors.
Tito Santana, but the actual people who survived is Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, which they raised each other's hands.
Shocker.
They made out for about 5 minutes in the ring, and they did all this stuff to try to give the Warrior the rub again from Hulk Hogan. I don't know why. At this point in his reign, if he's not over, he's not over. And you found out in 2 months what they thought about his reign. He loses to Sergeant Slaughter.
What's the line? It's over!
Here are the winning survivors, Ultimate Warrior!
That's my 2 cents on that. I give the match survival for concept-wise, thumbs in the middle, but it was rushed and it was thumbs. All the guys were tired, and they're just like, "What are we doing here?" Like, you can see all the guys in the ring too, especially Warlord. He's like, "Why am I even doing this? Like, I just got pinned in 28 seconds. Why am I doing this?" Like, I don't know. It was a sloppy match. I hated Hogan's hair. And
the only thing that explains the
did hate
Warlord
Hogan's
getting
hair.
like that is like, I'm still getting paid, right? I must have been that kind of guy.
It was all
Check the
designed for Hulk and Warrior to have that moment where they're standing on the outside of the ring and they're holding each other's hands up and the camera's like down, shooting up. That was like Vince's like, yeah, I need that shot. Like, why? I don't know. They literally designed a whole pay-per-view just to have Hulk and Warrior pose together at the end. Weird.
This really strange, like, oh, no, you exit the ring first. I'll sit on the rope. No, you exit the ring. I'm
You're
giving
the
deference
guy
to
around
you.
here.
It was like, get over it. This is stupid.
Good gravy.
And I just kind of thought like the dynamic of these two is like they must have like just hated each other.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, they're fighting just for the same spot, but like that whole like, how do you plan it out? And it was just weird. It was just weird to see him, but it was bad. Yeah, thumbs down. And sorry,
Dave,
Jess,
what do you think? Huh?
I Craig said thumbs out. I give it a thumbs middle, like I said, for concept. And again, Warrior just stupid. That stupid splash. God damn it. Makes me so mad. But I enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed the ultimate match of survival. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It is interesting because when Warrior and Hogan start to get the adrenaline pumping or they Hulk up, and you see what's left is, Power and Glory and $1 Million Man. It's just a matter of
Didn't
time.
Hulk Hogan do the world's worst power slam on Hercules? I remember Hogan doing a shitty power slam and then tagging the Warrior. So it might have been on Hercules.
I don't remember.
It was awful.
I mean, the match itself is not the best. It's just that the actual.
It was so right. Everyone knew it's just end it now. Just have Hogan and Warrior pin people in 30 seconds. You know what the ending's going to be. Just
I think that's the problem. Is that, to your point, everyone knows what's going to happen here. It's just too. These guys were put up. They almost look like demigods. It's like putting Thor in there at that point. You're like, I'm pretty sure the hammer's going to go through every single one of you. Can we just finish it, please?
We will sacrifice a Tito.
Yeah. We'll put Tito in there to get people a little bit, get them a
Reba Man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, get it right. It's a Reba Man. Yeah.
Us three together, right, guys? Okay, I go.
Freaking Hogan. Dang it. So many. Like I said, just hating on the Warlord and can't remember Tito's name.
I'm so sorry, Tito. What do you mean, Tito? I'm so sorry.
But what's funny is, I think we have more thumbs middle and down than thumbs up, but I give the pay-per-view.
They've been together for years.
I give the pay-per-view a thumbs up. What do you guys give the whole pay-per-view, by the way?
I give it a thumbs in the middle.
You got to think about what's going on. You got the Iraqi war hot and heavy. They're playing it pretty
thumbs
hard.
In the middle, but close to thumbs up because of the nostalgia factor. I really
Undertaker.
Yeah, I really liked watching this back. The Undertaker, like I told you, those 3 big milestones. The Undertaker debut. It was the only Survivor Series with the grand finale and the gobbledygooker. But I mean, still, we talk about the gobbledygooker, and Dave, we were joking earlier, but Dave's like, it actually spawned an entire website that's really popular now, and the guys made books and videos and DVDs off Wrestle Crap, and it's a thing now. Wrestling fans love that site. So
as much as you hate it, you would not have. So Jess made that point earlier. You would not have Wrestle Crap without it. So
yeah, it spawned it. So there was 3 major things here, and the debut of the Undertaker is absolutely iconic, and just where he would go after this. And you had 2 good matches. Like that match was really good with the $1 Million Team against the Dream Team, and the Visionaries and Vipers was good too. And so you had some decent wrestling on here too. And it wasn't meant. Survivor Series was never meant. It was always jam packed, like Craig said earlier. It was always kind of a clusterfuck. But at the same time, there was some bright spots. There was MVPs almost to every match. Bret Hart sticking out, Shawn Michaels in another one. Jake was also good in that match too because he took a hell of a beating. Perfect in the opening match. I don't think there was an MVP in the Hogan match because it was awful, and there was nobody that was a standout in the Alliance versus the other match. But I mean, there's those 3 big matches that people remember. I will always remember Bret Hart in that final saying "fuck." I will always remember the Undertaker entrance, and it's all Survivor Series 1990 in a nutshell. What do you guys think, Craig? You likey?
Thumbs in the middle. That's all I got.
Yeah, I give it a thumbs up. But I'm leaning heavily on Undertaker for that one.
And Power and Glory. Mostly Power and Glory. They get to shine.
Come on, bro. You can't. Yeah, you can't. Mm-hmm. You can't have a thumbs up unless there's Power and Glory involved. That's a new rule.
Right.
So right. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. But don't forget, we're also part of the Wrestle Hub family, all about wrestling podcast. Catch them at the Wrestle Hub on YouTube and Instagram. This is Dave, Jess, and Craig with the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.
This world is wrong to be. Say it with life.